Last year, 1.7 million dozen eggs were pulled off American shelves in a single Salmonella recall. 79 people got sick, 21 ended up in the hospital. But here's the detail almost nobody noticed. Those recalled eggs were sold under 9 different brand names. 9 different cartons, 9 different logos, some marked cage-free, some marked certified organic, sitting in different stores at different prices, competing with each other. Every single one of them came from the same company, the same facility, the same hens. And that's the real story of the egg aisle. The carton in your hand is covered in words: farm fresh, all natural, cage-free, free range, pasture-raised, pictures of red barns and green fields. Today we're going through 6 egg brands you should put back on the shelf, what those labels legally mean, which is almost nothing, and how the biggest names in this industry ended up across the table from the Department of Justice. Then we're finishing with the 3 options that are actually worth your money. Let's get into it. Number 6, Goldhen. This is Aldi's house brand, and it stands in for the default American egg, the plain white dozen, under a few dollars when prices behave, the carton that says farm fresh and grade A, and sometimes all natural. Start with what those words are legally worth. Farm fresh means nothing. Every egg comes from a farm, even when the farm is a windowless warehouse holding hundreds of thousands of birds. Fresh just means the eggs weren't frozen, which no shell egg ever is. All natural means nothing either. An egg is by definition a natural product, so the phrase adds 0 information. And when a carton brags no added hormones, understand what you're reading. Federal regulations have banned hormones in egg production since the 1950s. Every egg in America is hormone-free by law. That label is marketing the absence of something that would be illegal anyway. Now the part the carton never says. Unless the label states otherwise, the standard American egg comes from a battery cage. According to industry group United Egg Producers, roughly 2/3 of laying hens in this country still live in them. The standard allocation is 67 square inches of space per bird. A regular sheet of printer paper is 93.5 square inches. The bird that laid the cheapest egg in the store lived her entire life on less floor space than the piece of paper this fact is printed on. That's not an accusation, it's the industry's own math, published by its own trade group. And parts of the country have already decided that math is unacceptable. California and Massachusetts now prohibit the sale of eggs from caged hens entirely, which is why the same national producers sell caged eggs in one state and cage-free in the next, from the same corporate system, at whatever the local law forces them to do, and not 1 inch more. The words on the Goldhen carton aren't lies. They're worse than lies. They're legally meaningless decoration arranged to feel like information. The next brand charges more to make you feel better about all of this, and last year it ended up at the center of a federal recall. Number 5, Marketside. This is Walmart's fresher, greener sub-brand. Softer colors, farmers market energy, the cage-free and organic cartons positioned a step above great value. In June of 2025, Marketside brown cage-free eggs were part of that recall from the opening of this video. 1.7 million dozen eggs pulled after the FDA and CDC linked them to a Salmonella outbreak. 79 people sick across multiple states, 21 hospitalized, and environmental testing confirming Salmonella at the supplier's processing facility. Salmonella is not a technicality. The CDC estimates it sickens over 1 million Americans every year, and eggs are one of its classic vehicles, with young children, seniors, and anyone with a weakened immune system at the most serious risk. The supplier was August Egg Company, a producer most shoppers have never heard of because its name isn't on the carton. Its eggs were on shelves as Marketside and as Clover, and as O Organics, Rayleigh's, Sunnyside, Sun Harvest, First Street, New Laid, and Simple Truth. 9 brands, 1 facility. Walmart doesn't own hens, neither do most of the names on that list. They award supply contracts, and the winning producer fills whatever carton the contract calls for. The premium organic carton and the budget cage-free carton can roll off the same line on the same day, separated by nothing but packaging and price. When something goes wrong at that one facility, it goes wrong under 9 names at once. You weren't choosing between brands, You were choosing between labels printed for the same conveyor belt. And the next carton takes those same eggs and adds the single most expensive word in the grocery store. Number 4. O Organics. This is Albertsons and Safeway's organic house brand, and it's here to answer the question every careful shopper is asking right now. Fine, the cheap eggs are industrial, the mid-shelf brands are anonymous, but surely the word organic fixes this. Here's what USDA Organic actually certifies on an egg carton. It certifies the feed. The hens ate grain grown without synthetic pesticides, no GMOs, and the birds weren't given antibiotics or raised in cages. All real, all verified, all worth something. Then comes the requirement everyone assumes means a green field. Organic hens must have outdoor access. And outdoor access is one of the most quietly stretched phrases in American food regulation. In practice, it can be satisfied by a small screened concrete porch attached to a barn. Industry watchdogs have described organic hen houses holding tens of thousands, even 200,000 birds, with a porch that could physically fit a handful of them, reached through small doors many hens never use, because a bird bred indoors instinctively avoids open sky where predators hunt from above. The certification is legitimate. The picture in your head is not what it certifies. You imagined a meadow. The rule requires a doorway. And now connect this segment to the last one, because O Organic's cage-free and organic eggs were on that same 9-brand recall list. An Albertsons customer paying the organic premium to escape the industrial egg system, and a Walmart customer grabbing the cheaper Marketside carton were buying eggs traced back to the identical facility. 2 stores, 2 price points, 1 building. To be fair on the record, the recall was voluntary. The supplier said it diverted its eggs to pasteurization, and a recall is the safety system doing its job. But you paid double specifically to be somewhere else in the food system, and you weren't. Organic tells you about the grain in the feeder. It tells you almost nothing about the life of the bird, and nothing at all about whose building she lived in. And if you think the fix is to pay even more, the next carton is the most expensive promise in the aisle, and it just earned the FDA's most serious recall classification. Number 3. Kirkland's Signature Organic Pasture-Raised. Costco's house brand, and not the budget line, this is the top shelf carton. Organic and pasture-raised, the 2 most expensive words in the egg aisle, stacked on one label. In December of 2024, the FDA publicized a recall of these exact eggs, produced for Costco by a supplier called Handsome Brook Farms. The agency classified it Class 1, that is, the FDA's most serious recall category, reserved for situations where a product could cause severe health consequences or death. Here's the detail that makes this one different. According to the company's own announcement, the recall happened because eggs that were never intended for retail sale were packaged and distributed in retail cartons. Read that again. The premium organic pasture-raised carton, the one commanding the highest price in the case, was filled with eggs meant for a different stream entirely. In this industry, eggs not destined for retail cartons are typically headed for what's called the breaker market, processing into liquid or powdered egg products, where pasteurization kills pathogens before anyone eats them. That's the stream where a questionable egg is supposed to be safe. Instead, by the company's own account, eggs from outside the retail stream ended up in the fanciest retail carton in the warehouse club. The company said it added supply chain controls and retraining to prevent it happening again, and no illnesses were confirmed from these specific eggs. Fine, but think about what you were paying for. The organic pasture-raised carton at a warehouse club is the good conscience purchase, the one that costs nearly triple the basic dozen, specifically because every step is supposed to be more controlled, more traceable, more careful. One packaging decision at one supplier erased the entire premium, and you were never supposed to find out it was possible. And while we're on this carton, one more thing. Pasture-raised, the phrase you're paying the premium for, is not a term the USDA defines or regulates on its own. Any producer can print it. Without a third-party certification seal next to it, pasture-raised is a picture painted with words, and nobody official is checking the picture against the farm. Hold that thought, because it decides the entire best of list at the end of this video. First, we need to talk about the company behind more American eggs than any other, because its last few years belong in a business school case study. Stay with us. This is the halfway point, and it's where the money is. Number 2, Farmhouse Eggs. A carton with a name like a country road and packaging to match. What the carton doesn't advertise is that Farmhouse is one of the many brands of Cal-Maine Foods, the largest egg producer in the United States. Cal-Maine sells under a whole family of comforting names, and by industry estimates, its eggs account for roughly 1 in 5 eggs Americans eat. Now the record. In December 2023, a federal jury in Chicago found that Cal-Maine, another major producer, and 2 industry trade groups had participated in a conspiracy to limit the egg supply and raise prices, in a case brought by food giants Kraft, Kellogg, General Mills, and Nestle. The jury heard how supply was restricted, including exporting eggs to shrink the domestic market and managing flocks to keep numbers down. Damages of $17.7 million were awarded, tripled under federal antitrust law to roughly $53 million. Cal-Maine said it did nothing wrong, noted that 2 earlier trials on similar claims had gone the other way, and pursued its legal options. That scheme, as found by the jury, dated back to the 2000s. So let's talk about what happened much more recently. Between 2022 and 2025, American egg prices went vertical. A dozen eggs averaged $6.23 in March 2025, an all-time record, and eggs became the single most famous symbol of grocery inflation. The industry explanation was bird flu, and bird flu was real. Millions of hens were lost. But in June of 2026, 1 month ago, the Department of Justice and 17 state attorneys general announced a settlement with Cal-Maine and 2 other major producers over allegations that, from mid-2022 to March 2025, they secretly coordinated their bidding to influence the daily benchmark price that most egg contracts in America are built on. The complaint describes one producer's chief executive emailing the others, urging strong bids early and often to push prices higher. And it notes that benchmark prices dropped significantly right after the companies learned the government was investigating and received orders to preserve their documents. The companies denied wrongdoing, pointed to bird flu, and settled for $3.3 million plus a donation of 53 million eggs to food banks. Nobody admitted anything, and allegations are not proof. Some context for the years in question. Analyses published by agricultural advocacy groups concluded that bird flu's hit to total egg production was far smaller than the price explosion implied, while the largest producer's profits multiplied during the spike. Cal-Maine had also faced a price gouging lawsuit from the state of Texas over pandemic-era egg prices, allegations the company denied and contested. If this investigation is changing how you see the egg aisle, a quick like helps it reach more people. Takes 1 second. Now, here is the sequence you're allowed to notice. A jury verdict for supply restriction in one era, record prices in the next. A government complaint alleging coordinated bidding during those exact record years. And prices easing once the subpoenas arrived. While you were putting the $6 carton back on the shelf, the largest producers in the country were, at minimum, close enough to the line that they paid to make the question go away. And the #1 brand on this list isn't accused of any of that. It's here for a completely different reason, and it's the best-selling branded egg in America. Number 1, Eggland's Best. The red EB stamped on every shell, the carton your doctor's waiting room magazine advertised for decades. America's #1 branded egg, built on a genuinely real idea, that a hen's feed changes her egg. Eggland's Best feeds its hens a special vegetarian diet, and the company backs its claims of more vitamin D, more vitamin E, and less saturated fat than ordinary eggs with published nutritional analysis. That part of the promise is real, the same way the mercury testing was real for a certain tuna brand we covered. And exactly like that brand, the problem is what the halo makes you stop asking. Start with the phrase vegetarian fed, printed like a virtue. Chickens are not vegetarians. They are omnivores. A hen on actual pasture eats seeds, plants, worms, grubs, and insects, and that natural diet is precisely what shoppers imagine when they pay extra for a premium egg. Vegetarian fed doesn't mean a more natural life. It usually means the opposite. A bird that never touches soil, eating a formulated indoor ration because you cannot control a diet that precisely in a field. The healthy-sounding phrase and the picture in your head point in opposite directions. Now the housing. Unless the carton specifically says cage-free, organic, or free-range, the classic Eggland's Best Dozen comes from the same conventional caged housing as the cheapest eggs in the store. The nutrition halo covers the whole brand, but the welfare upgrade only exists on the specific cartons that say so, at a higher price again. And one more layer. Eggland's Best isn't a farm. It's a brand licensed to a network of large producers who raise the hens and pack the eggs to spec. And among the franchisees producing Eggland's Best eggs is Cal-Maine, the company from the previous segment. The best-selling branded egg in America, wearing a doctor's office halo, produced in part by the biggest player in an industry that just settled with the Department of Justice. And here's the quiet irony inside the science. Eggland's Best proved the core idea, that what a hen eats changes the nutrition of her egg. But the most nutrient-dense diet a hen can eat isn't a patented indoor formula. It's the one she assembles herself on actual pasture, plants, seeds, insects and all, which is exactly the kind of egg this brand's price point should buy you, and doesn't. The nutrition claims are the promise they kept. Everything the label lets you assume around those claims, that's where the gap lives. So if the words on the carton are this hollow, what do you actually buy? 3 answers, from good to best. Best option number 3, Pete and Gerry's. A family-rooted company out of New England that built its model on the opposite structure from everything on the avoid list. Instead of one giant facility packing 9 labels, Pete and Gerry's works with a network of small, independent family farms producing under one label. And it was one of the first egg companies in the country to become a certified B Corporation, a status that requires meeting audited standards for how the whole business operates. The load-bearing word there is audited, and it carries into the henhouse. Pete and Gerry's eggs are certified Humane, which means an independent organization with published standards, written by veterinarians and animal welfare scientists, inspects the farms, not the brand grading its own homework. A third party with a rule book you can read online. Notice what this structure does to every failure mode from the avoid list. One giant facility packing 9 labels means one contamination event travels under 9 names. A network of small farms under one label means a problem on one farm is one farm's problem, identifiable, contained, and traceable, because the whole model was built around knowing exactly which farm filled which carton. Their organic free-range eggs cost real money, and availability varies by region. Those trade-offs are what a small farm network costs. But when this carton says free-range, someone whose salary doesn't come from the marketing department has verified what that means. And that idea, the seal instead of the slogan, is the entire next entry. Best option number 2, certified pasture-raised. And this one is a rule, not a single brand. Remember, pasture-raised by itself is an unregulated phrase. But pasture-raised next to a certified humane seal has a precise, inspected definition. 108 square feet of outdoor pasture per bird. Compare that to the 67 square inches of a battery cage. That is not an upgrade. That is a different universe, roughly 200 times the space, on actual land, verified by third-party inspectors. Even stricter is the Animal Welfare Approved seal, widely regarded by welfare organizations as the highest standard in the store, requiring genuine pasture access and banning practices the rest of the industry treats as routine. So here's the shelf test, and it takes 4 seconds. Find the phrase pasture-raised, then look for the seal beside it. Certified Humane. Animal Welfare Approved. If the seal is there, the claim has been inspected by an outside organization whose standards are published, whose inspectors visit the farms, and whose certification gets pulled when a farm fails. If the claim stands alone, it's decoration, because the phrase, without the seal, has no inspector, no rule book, and no consequence for being false. This is the same lesson from every category we've investigated on this channel. On cereal boxes, it was the glyphosate residue-free seal versus the word natural. Here, it's certified humane versus a watercolor barn. The pattern never changes. Companies write adjectives, independent certifiers run inspections. Buy the inspection. The best-known carton in this category is Vital Farms, which does carry certified humane, pasture-raised status, and even prints a code on each carton that lets you look up the farm. Worth knowing in full, a class action lawsuit has alleged that the company's broader ethical marketing overpromises, allegations Vital Farms has denied and contested in court. The pasture certification itself is real and independently verified. Judge the seal, not the storytelling. Seals are the strongest proof the supermarket offers. There's one option that beats the supermarket entirely. Best option number 1, the egg with no brand at all. A local farm, a farmer's market, a roadside stand, a neighbor with a dozen hens. This is the Cento moment of the egg aisle, the option that wins by removing everything the rest of this video was about. No 9-label conveyor belt, because you can see the one farm. No unregulated vocabulary, because you can ask the farmer how the birds live or drive past and look. No benchmark price for anyone to coordinate, because the price is whatever the person at the stand wrote on the cardboard sign, and in plenty of towns, it undercuts the premium supermarket cartons. And the egg itself will testify. Crack a true pasture egg next to a battery egg. The pastured yolk sits tall and firm and comes up deep orange, the color of a bird that spent her days foraging plants and insects. The industrial yolk runs flatter and pale yellow, the color of a formulated indoor ration. That's not folklore, it's diet expressing itself in pigment, a quality check no label can fake and no lawyer needs to approve. Fresh local eggs also haven't spent weeks in a distribution network, and with a small flock, the biosecurity story is one coop, not one plant feeding 9 brands. If you do talk to the farmer, you only need 2 questions. Are the birds actually out on grass? And what do they eat besides what they forage? A real farmer answers both in 10 seconds and usually offers to show you. A marketing department needs a focus group and a lawyer to answer either one. And run the price math before assuming this is the expensive option. Premium supermarket pasture-raised cartons routinely run $8 to $10. Plenty of local flocks sell for less than that without a distributor, a brand license, or a benchmark price index anywhere in the chain. The trade-off is convenience. You can't grab them at midnight. Everything else tilts one way. Before you close this, here's the rule that survives everything you just watched, and it fits on a sticky note. On an egg carton, adjectives are free and seals are earned. Farm fresh, all natural, vegetarian fed, no hormones, and a watercolor barn cost the company nothing and tell you nothing. Cage free tells you only what the hen doesn't live in. Free range guarantees a door, not a field. Pasture raised alone is an unregulated phrase. The only words that carry legal and inspected weight are the certification seals, certified humane, animal welfare approved, USDA Organic for the feed, and the strongest cartons stack a housing seal on top of the organic one. Everything else is a story, and this industry has told you stories at the checkout, while, by a jury's finding in one decade and the government's allegations in the next, it managed the price of the story too. And one more thing worth carrying out of this video, because it applies to the price tag as much as the label. The next time egg prices spike and the news gives you a one-word explanation, remember what you learned today. This is an industry where a jury found supply was deliberately restricted, where the government alleged the benchmark price itself was being nudged by the biggest players in coordinated bids, and where prices eased within weeks of investigators showing up. Shortages can be real, and stories can still be managed. Both things were true here at the same time. Your move takes 4 seconds in the aisle. Ignore the front of the carton, find the seal, or put it back. If someone you love has been paying $6 for words like farm fresh, sending them this video will save them real money by Sunday. And drop a comment telling us what's printed on the carton in your fridge right now. Genuinely curious how many of these labels are sitting in people's kitchens.